Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to kind of put together a little checklist to review, making sure we know when to get out of the market. So let's go ahead and just start going through everything. First of all, we got our fundamentals. We know the phases of the financial bubble. So this means that all the hype is gonna come, people are gonna be drinking the Kool-Aid, and they're gonna forget that you're not gonna be buying Starbucks with Bitcoin. And you gotta make sure that when all this hype and hysteria is in the air, you're looking at your other indicators. This cycle is not an exception, okay? This bubble's gonna burst. It's not like this is the time where Bitcoin goes to 500 grand. It's not happening this cycle. So just glance over the phases of the financial bubble a couple of times. You guys have seen the graphic. I don't want you guys to be one of these people that refuses to get out of the market when those indicators are going off. And I don't want you drinking the Kool-Aid thinking that the US dollar is complete garbage, that gold is garbage. Most people get wrecked when crypto crashes. Look, if you lose 20%, just suck it up and walk away with 80% profits, you guys. Corporations like Tesla and Amazon, they're gonna be accepting Bitcoin as payments, but that's only when Bitcoin's going up, okay? When Bitcoin's crashing, they're not accepting Bitcoin anymore as payments. So just keep that in mind. This bubble is gonna burst, and when it bursts, it's gonna burst hard. There's a lot of big whales in the game. Remember, we're guppies in this pool full of gigantic sharks, and we need to walk away with profits, okay? We are going to be a part of that 10% of people that came out of this bull run in profit. We're not going to be a part of the 90% that got wrecked. Okay, so let's continue down the list, and now let's talk about money flow. You guys remember that when Bitcoin starts to create that bell-shaped curve, or when it starts to top, that is when your final altcoins are going to be mooning. And when Bitcoin is going sideways just a little bit, you know, that is when you guys need to be cautious, okay? When Bitcoin's going straight up, you don't really need to be cautious, right? When it's going sideways, that's when people think, oh, this is when it's about to go up again, right? That could be when the big dump happens, okay? So just be aware of that. Sure, when it goes sideways, you can get chopped up, but the goal is to preserve those profits on those big legs. So just pay attention to that money flow from the large caps to the low caps to the micro caps, etc. You guys get the picture on that. Okay, now remember, there's going to be a lot of misinformation to keep us in the market. People are going to be talking about bricks. They're going to be talking about inflation, all kinds of stuff. It's going to go on and on and on. And the last thing anyone's going to be expecting is when the rug is going to get pulled and the bubble's going to burst. I want you paranoid when everyone else is euphoric, okay? Just don't forget there's going to be all these claims out there saying Bitcoin's going to 500,000. Remember, there's going to be these gigantic whales that are going to take a fraction of their budget, and they're going to pay like 100 writers on Forbes to write a bunch of articles to keep you in the market and not sell your crypto. They're going to tell you Bitcoin's going to 250 grand, 300 grand, or whatever it is. You got to be careful with what you're reading, okay? Be aware of the misinformation to keep us in the market. That goes for war or whatever fear-based news there is or anything. Remember, we had the first global pandemic in 100 years and Bitcoin blasted up. Then Russia invaded Ukraine and Bitcoin went down. Both bad news. Do not let the news affect what's going on. Just pay attention to those charts, okay? So the next overall kind of helpful category are our Bitcoin price predictions, right? We've got those four kind of ballpark price predictions of 95 grand, 125 grand, 145 grand, and around 170 grand. So, you know, remember, just those are just kind of the overall basic areas. It doesn't really matter how high it goes as long as you guys are keeping an eye on your other indicators. You know, it could only go to 110, 120 grand. Just try to be more conservative and don't be hoping for something high. Just make sure that you're in early, and as long as you're in early enough, it doesn't really matter how high Bitcoin goes. You guys are going to be in ridiculous profit if this happens. And just remember, we just have to take what the market gives us, okay? All right, the next thing that's kind of in the Bitcoin price prediction category are those date patterns that we talked about, right? We saw in the past 3 cycles that Bitcoin would start crashing in January and bottom in January. Then it would start crashing in December and bottom in December. It would start crashing in November and bottom in November, right? So we're kind of maybe expecting that October would be next, right? So that's just another pattern that you could put out there. It's nothing concrete, right? This is just us guessing, and we did the math. So just remember that those crashes from those all-time highs to the new lows were averaging at about 383 days, or a year if you just want to make it easy to remember. Also, alt season, right? We were kind of guesstimating that alt season was taken about 546 days after the halving date. So these little date patterns might be helpful with helping you guys have another factor trying to figure out where in the season are we. All right, so now let's go ahead and review probably my favorite seasonal indicator, and that's going to be the total 3 chart on TradingView. That ticker again is total 3. Let's just do a quick review of this. Remember, total 3 represents all of the crypto, and it does not include Bitcoin. It doesn't include Ethereum. Okay, it's just all the other altcoins, all the other garbage.
By the way, everything you're watching right now is part of my crypto investor toolkit, and I decided to put the entire thing on YouTube for free because it's exactly what I wish I had when I first started in this space. Now, if you want to go deeper, I've also built the advanced modules. That includes my full altcoin list where I break down every category of the hottest layer ones, decentralized finance, the AI coins, the memes, and all of that. Plus, I provide 100 target levels for all of those things using Fibonacci levels, adoption curves, ChatGPT backtesting, and much more. Plus, we've also created some amazing Bitcoin price prediction modules that you guys are going to be able to reuse every single cycle, even though Bitcoin is going to constantly be evolving every 4 years. Now, you guys have seen other people's Bitcoin price predictions before, but the one that we have is so meticulous in advance, and we've used so many different methods for calculating it. I think you guys are going to be blown away when you see that there's nothing else like this on YouTube. There's nothing else like this on Twitter. It's kind of curated information over years of work, and you know, it's something that we're really proud of. And I think once you guys see it, you're going to see how much it stands out compared to other Bitcoin price prediction methods. Links below if you want in. Now let's get back to the video.
Now, when crypto on total 3 overshoots 800 billion, maybe over a trillion, when it comes back down and tests 1.2 trillion and then starts going back up, it's a very good indicator that the real mega alt season is on its way. Total 3 could make it to 2 trillion. It could make it to 3 trillion. We just don't know. It could be better to err on the side of caution. Maybe assume it'll only make 2 trillion, whatever. Just be ready when that thing bounces off of 1.2 trillion and starts going up. Now, we don't know exactly how it's going to behave, right? We don't know if it's going to overshoot 1 trillion, come down to 900 billion, and then blast off from there, or you know, it could overlap or whatever. Just when crypto gets around 1.2 trillion, be ready for alt season to come, okay? So that's the total 3 chart on TradingView. So we've got our market updates, right? And that is just us checking in once a day with our favorite YouTubers, Eric Crown, Jason Pizzino, his brother Michael Pizzino, Satoshi Stacker. Most of those guys are going to help you have an unbiased view of what's going on in the market. Now, some people that I mentioned can get a little carried away with the trend and maybe accidentally call out Bitcoin going to, 300 grand. Just remember that some of these people are day traders and they just look at the charts and they're going along with the trend. The investor YouTubers are the ones you might want to listen to a little bit more, but either way, all those guys that I mentioned should help out a lot and provide you updates on what is going on in the market. Okay, so the next kind of helpful indicator was the DXY, the DXY on TradingView. That represents the US dollar. When it goes down, money is going into risk on assets like crypto, right? And when it goes up, people are running out of crypto and they're running for safety into the US dollar. So that is just another thing to keep an eye on, right? Sometimes if the DXY puts in a big red candle and crashes down and Bitcoin does nothing, you could have a 24-hour window before a pump in crypto, okay? Same thing with the opposite way, right? If the DXY blasts up and crypto's not moving, you might want to get out real quick. So just remember, the DXY is another indicator that you can look for that inverse relationship with Bitcoin and the US dollar. Speaking of inverse relationships to the US dollar, now let's just talk about that USDT tethered dominance chart, okay? This is gonna be another indicator that you can use like the DXY to get an idea of when to sell your altcoins. As long as we're paying attention to our moving average indicators, we will be coming out of this bull run in profit. So let's go ahead and go over the first one, and that was the 5 EMA, okay? That was the 5 exponential moving average when Bitcoin is printing green candles above that 5 EMA, things are looking pretty good. When it's printing red candles below that thing, it's not good. All right, so we've got that. The next moving average indicator we have is the 50 simple moving average on the 1-day time frame. If Bitcoin is above the 50 simple moving average on the 1-day time frame, things are, for the most part, going pretty good. Okay, Bitcoin is below the 50 simple moving average on the 1-day time frame, it's not good. All right, it's another indicator that Bitcoin's bearish. Now, it's up to you if you want to go in and out blindly just off these indicators, right? Remember, you're putting together a puzzle, all right? And if you want to be out early, that's a risk you're willing to take. If you want to be in early, that's a risk you're willing to take, right? But the more indicators you got, the more clues you have of what might be happening. Yeah, you're going to lose some money. It's not perfect, but you're going to protect your profits on those big legs where you made a bunch on the macro, right? You're going to get chopped up sideways, but you're not going to get destroyed on those macro moves down. I'm not giving you professional training on how to be a day trader or swing trader or anything. I'm just providing that to you guys as an emergency backup. If you want to learn about day trading or swing trading, you can go to Jason Pizzino's website. You can go to Eric Crown's website. There's all kinds of resources out there, okay? Right now, I'm just trying to get you guys in a position to where you can go out and do that stuff. All right, now, since we're talking about alt season, there's something that I want to talk about when it comes to you guys holding these microcaps and these dog coins and all these garbage coins in your Rabby wallets or your self-custody wallets. Now, what I want to talk about, you guys, is you're going to notice that a lot of these crappy coins are not on exchanges. And what does that mean? It means that you can't set a stop loss, and that could be a disaster, okay? So I just want you guys to not go too crazy and go all into meme coins, okay? Even though you could get rich doing that, but just be diversified, okay? I don't want you guys to just get dumped on overnight and lose all your money. Also, when you're buying some of these high-risk microcaps on these decentralized exchanges, the fees can add up. You know, if you're buying 20 grand of something, you could be paying a $200 fee. Just be aware of that, okay? It's not like you can get in and out of these things with like $5 fees. Somebody is paying for that liquidity. Keep that in mind. Be diversified if you're holding a bunch of microcaps in a self-custody wallet, okay? I don't want you to get dumped on. You can't always place stop losses on those things. So that's it for this video on covering everything you need to make sure you know when to get out of the market. I'll see you in the next one.
When I first got into crypto in 2017, it would have been a game changer had somebody provided me a free course like this. But the difference between surviving and actually winning in this market is knowing when to enter and when to exit. That's exactly why I built the advanced toolkit, which you can get at cryptoinvestortoolkit.com. Inside, you'll get my full altcoin list broken down by sectors like AI, layer 1s, layer 2s, decentralized finance, and complete with 100 price targets so you know where to take profit. You'll also get the Bitcoin price prediction system. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but once you dive into this system, you're going to be blown away once you see how much energy we put into it and how many methods we put it through. It's the most meticulous Bitcoin price prediction analysis ever. And as Bitcoin continues to evolve, you'll be able to apply this to every Bitcoin cycle moving forward. This is going to help people know when Bitcoin is overheated, and it's also going to let them know when it's oversold. So if you don't want to be left guessing when to sell, grab the advanced toolkit by clicking the link in the description below. Otherwise, click here to watch the next video.